Good evening. My name is Leslie Kirby, and I'm the new CEO of the Jewish Community Alliance of Southern Maine. Although this is only the beginning of my fourth week here, I already feel blessed to be a part of this community. My family and I have been touched by the warmth and kindness shown in welcoming us to Maine. Toda Rabbah. Today, in the midst of the days of awe, the time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we mark 1 year since the horrific attacks of October 7th, 2023. The deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust, October 7th was a day marked by tragedy, violence, and immense loss. One that left deep scars on the global Jewish community in Israel and beyond. A year later, the pain of that day has not subsided, in no small part because we are still very much in trauma. Hostages are still being held captive. The war is ongoing and expanding on multiple fronts, and innocent lives are still being taken. All the while, hate and extremism continue to grow here at home. We as Jews have come together in the aftermath of October 7th, finding strength in our shared experience and the values that bind us. Tonight, feeling the weight of this anniversary, we join in community with one another, as well as with our partners and allies, to pray, to comfort one another, and to stand in solidarity. We take comfort in knowing that even in the darkest of moments, our sense of belonging and our commitment to Israel and to one another cannot be broken. This occasion also calls us to continue standing against hatred and anti-Semitism, advocating for justice, and continuing always the crucial work of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. As we enter the new year of 5785, let us hold close the memories of those we lost, while also joining together to work for a future of peace and healing. Before we begin, I'd like to take a brief moment to welcome all the non-Jews who took time out of their busy schedules to be with us in community and solidarity tonight. A special welcome and thanks goes out to our elected officials who are joining us this evening. Maine Attorney General Aaron Frey, Cumberland County DA Jacqueline Sartoris, Press Secretary for Governor Mills Ben Goodman, Maine Speaker of the House Rachel Talbot Ross, Maine Treasurer Henry Beck, and State Representatives Amy Arata, Matthew Beck, Michael Brennan, Benjamin Collings, Kelly Noonan Murphy, and Morgan Riley. Lastly, I'd like to thank Portland Mayor Mark Dion for issuing a proclamation today. You can read the proclamation up here. It just got issued right before the start of our ceremony here tonight. So the mayor is not with us because he's still at the city council meeting, but the proclamation was issued commemorating the attacks, well, condemning the attacks, and standing in solidarity with Israel. Okay, this isn't the time for that, please. Now I'd like to introduce Rabbi Hannah Estrin from Temple Bethel in Portland to begin tonight's program.
Good evening. One of the places that we turn when we are in need of hope and comfort is to prayer. And sometimes prayer made by ourselves, with ourselves, is the most poignant. Please join me in We Remember Ni's core, taken from our high holiday liturgy, but recreated in light of October 7th. את התינוק Yanek bechibuk imo, the infant nursing in its mother's arms, we remember. The one sacrificed on the bed, we remember. The families wrapped in each other's arms in a final embrace at home, who were killed and set afire. The life partners who sat and cried a final tear in the safety shelters. The parents killed, hiding their children beneath their own bodies. Those who were out for day trips and were murdered on the road. The children and the young innocents who were slaughtered before their time. The parents murdered in front of their loved ones. Et mimim hanefesh shiragdu rikud acharon, the innocents dancing their final dance. The peace-loving youngsters who were viciously captured, raped, and killed. The cyclists on a never-ending trip. The vacationers in their tents in the desert or on the beach. The foreign workers who remained alongside their elders. The agricultural workers from around the world. Et man gnei ha-meginot shehabizmon shelehem tam, the musicians whose music went silent. The elders and the founders. The artists whose works remain forever incomplete. The passers-by who encountered evil. The philosophers whose last page will never be written. The security forces and the police and the town security teams and the military observers and the IDF, who fought a few against many, who stood and delivered, who saved lives, and who fought till the bitter end ensuing more innocents survived.
Thank you, Rabbi Estrin. I now invite Rabbi Erica Ash of Temple Beth Augusta to share some poetry with us. She'll be joining us via Zoom.
It's good to be with everyone. I'd like to share two poems with you this evening. The first is by Yehuda Amichai. It's called The Diameter of the Bomb. The diameter of the bomb was 30 centimeters, and the diameter of its effective range was about 7 meters, with 4 dead and 11 wounded, and around those, in a larger circle of pain and time, 2 hospitals are scattered and 1 graveyard. But the young woman who was buried in the city she came from, at a distance of more than 100 kilometers, enlarges the circle considerably. And the solitary man mourning her death at a distant shore of a country far across the sea includes the entire world in the circle. And I won't even mention the crying of orphans that reaches up to the throne of God and beyond, making a circle with no end and no God. The second poem is called The Diameter of the Massacres. It's a contemporary piece written by Rabbi Karen Bender of California, included in a supplement of readings for this day from the CCAR. The Diameter of the Massacres, Rabbi Karen Bender. The diameter of the massacres was the length of Israel and the depth of the universe. It stretched to every continent, college campuses, and social media. It spread information and disinformation, twisting and distorting morality, and redefining madness. It wreaked havoc and wrecked lives. In Israel and Gaza, in kitchens and living rooms, in bedrooms and porches, in souls and hearts. The diameter of the visit was the length of Israel, the distance to California, and everyone and everywhere will speak of it. The mission stretched our compassion and minds and challenged our faith in human nature. It struck us with awe in every cell of our being, and we saw the resiliency of our people, as we strove together to answer the unspoken question, where shall we place all the pain? We were messengers and witnesses, representatives with wishes to help, and we did, and we will. The diameter of the hugs is the length of an Israeli flag and the width of a talit, large enough to enwrap every Israeli who hurts right now, and therefore every Israeli, with the comfort of our love, and with a strand of Tehelet turquoise in the seat to remind us that the morning will come, and we will say Shema someday with one voice.
Thank you, Rabbi Ash, for those beautiful words. I now invite Rabbi Lisa Vinacour of Beth Israel Congregation in Bath to share with us stories of some of those we've lost.
Thank you. Tonight, we join millions of Jews across the globe in pausing to remember the lives lost on October 7th. We will now share 4 stories of victims of this brutal massacre.
Dolev Yehud was 35 years old from Kibbutz near Orz. He was a civil engineer with a great sense of humor. He loved stand-up comedy, and his favorite Jewish holiday was Purim. Dolev was a volunteer medic with Magen David Adom and United Hatzva'ah, who sprung into action to help the wounded. While helping victims of the attack, he was murdered by Hamas terrorists. Zichrono L'Aracha, may his memory be for a blessing. Yehudit Etchaki was 76 from Kibbutz Be'er Eri. She was born in 1947 in a displaced persons camp in Italy to 2 Holocaust survivors from Austria. She came to Israel in 1948 aboard the Kedma ship and grew up mostly in Yafo. After marrying in 1972, she moved to Be'eri, where she remained for close to 50 years. On the kibbutz, she worked as a secretary at the printing house and later as a school administrator. She was the heart of the family, always in the center, always remembering birthdays, feeding, spoiling. She loved to read and also loved music. Yehudit was brutally murdered at her home on the kibbutz. Authorities believe she was taken out of her garden and shot by Hamas terrorists. Zichrona Levarach, may her memory be for a blessing.
Lenore Kainan was 23 years old and from Maskerath, Batya. Lenore worked as a business consultant and loved to travel and go to the beach. A friend described her as someone who always lent a listening ear and knew how to uplift you no matter what you were going through. Lenore was murdered by Hamas terrorists while fleeing the Supernova Music Festival. Zichrona Levracha, may her memory be for a blessing. Jaime Ben-Yamim was 55 years old. He was out cycling on October 7th when he was brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists. Chaim was a well-known landscape architect and avid bicyclist. His brother-in-law described Chaim as such an optimistic person who every Friday night dinner with the extended family would raise his hands in the air and say, "What fun it is, we're all together." Zichrono Levracha, may his memory be for a blessing.
Thank you, Rabbi Vinacour and Congregation Beth Israel. We now invite Rabbi Sruli Dresner and Rebbetzin Lisa Mayer of Temple Shalom in Auburn, who are going to sing for us a heartfelt setting of Shema Yisrael.
First, I would like to recognize Mayor Carl Shaleen of Lewiston, who is with us tonight. Our community is ever grateful for your steadfast support, always. The Shema is Judaism's most sacred prayer. We recite it daily and at all of our services. We also recite it, where possible, immediately before we die, whether naturally or unnaturally. Rabbi Daniel Gordis told a story about a survivor of last year's massacre who was hiding with her 10-year-old son. As the murderers closed in, she whispered to her son, "I think it's time for us to recite the Shema." Her son answered, "I already said it." I can't help but think that that scene or something similar must have been repeated dozens of times throughout that day, and likely thousands of times throughout Jewish history. So in solidarity with those for whom the Shema were their last words, and on behalf of those who were never given the opportunity to recite it, let us all recite the Shema together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Thank you, Rabbi Dresner and Rebbetzin Lisa, for that beautiful rendition. I I now invite Rabbi Rachel Isaacs and Geffen Nusanov of Beth Israel Congregation in Waterville to share a memorial for Geffen's friend Gilly.
This is Geffen Nusanov from Waterville. October 7th, 2023. 8:25 a.m. I'm hiding in the bar. We arranged the fridges and are hiding inside of them. 9:08 a.m. I don't know how, but I'm hoping someone comes. We are in the middle of it and we can't leave from here. 9:14 a.m. They are close, very close. I hear shooting. Now I'm really scared. I was calm at first, but now I am not. These are Giri Adal's final texts to her parents. She sent them as she cowered in what has come to be known as the Little Bar among Coca-Cola refrigerators at the Nova Festival site. Her lifeless body was found later, just steps away from the bar. It has been 365 days without joy, without laughter, without Giri. It has been a full year of tears, heavy hearts, and brokenness. It has been a complete orbit around the sun without a dear friend, a golden heart, an infectious smile, a selfless soul. On that awful Saturday morning, October 7th, Gili was murdered with unimaginable cruelty at the nature party in Reim. Even in those final moments, shortly before her murder, Gili saved the lives of her good friends. As soon as Gili understood the reality of this nightmare, she somehow managed to text her friends and warn them to get as far away as possible from the site. They did and lived to tell. On top of all of her other achievements, it turns out Gili was a hero too. Gili lived so much life in her short 24 years. She was adventurous, optimistic, independent, and fearless. She loved music, dancing, and people. Gili traveled the world, served as a counselor at summer camps abroad, volunteered, was an active member of the Israeli Scouts program, and mentored lone soldiers in the IDF. She was also an upstander who spoke out against injustices, as well as a standout soldier who was recognized for her excellence on Israel's 73rd Independence Day. She had an infectious spirit and smile that filled up a room. After Gili's murder, a friend from the Scouts wrote, quote, "Everyone needs a Gili in their life." During my study abroad semester at Tel Aviv University in the fall of 2023, Gili and I reconnected. Our families have been friends for over 30 years, and Gili, without any solicitation, took me under her wings. She gave me the best recommendations for restaurants, concerts, shops, beaches, hiking trails, and sites not to be missed. She even promised to introduce me to friend Avraham, but never got the chance. He too was murdered at the little bar at the Nova site. Gili's mantra, Lama o kefshal gam vegam. Why this or that when you can do this and that? Gili will forever inspire me to make the best of every situation, approach life with a positive attitude, and see the good in others. She made people feel special, worthy, and heard. Gili was a true friend. This past summer, I had the privilege of spending time with Gili's parents, Orna and Eldad. We toured the Nova grounds and spent time with Gili at her final resting spot. We watched videos of Gili, looked through old pictures, and laughed at her shenanigans. A little over a week ago, Gili would have celebrated her 25th birthday. I have no doubt that this dancing queen would have thrown herself a full-on bash, teaming with family, friends, blaring music, and endless dancing. Gili left behind many fractured hearts that will never fully heal. She was taken way too early and way too violently from a world that she adored deeply. Gili used to say, "Tzarich lehenot mechaim." You must enjoy life. And so we will, as much as it hurts, in honor and in memory of Gili. You'll be missed, Gili, but never forgotten, I promise. Lo nishkach v'lo nislach. We won't forget and we won't forgive. We pray for those murdered on October 7th and killed during the Iron Swords War.
אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים. טהורים וגיבורים כזוהר רקיע מאירים
Thank you, Geffen, for that incredibly moving memorial of your friend. We now invite Lauren Trotterman, Rabbi of Adash Yosharon, and Rosa Ergas in Rockland to share their reflections on October 7th.
The Hours by Tal Nitzan. And without it being explained to them how, as if they knew it from generations before, from birth, they shrank themselves into a closet and shrank their breath and waited, and no one came. And between their fingers like a rosary, they dissolved the promise until it became apathetic ashes burning in their throats, and no one came. And they tossed one by one their innocent treasures like someone who throws the weight out of a boat, and they sank into a dense and determined orphanhood, and no one came. And for a moment they wondered if the fault was theirs, if they had failed to solve the terrible riddle, but they knew in a moment they will be held by the arms of solace, and no one came. And they caressed the children with hands drenched in blood, while around them the walls were melting till the very last, and a crack appeared from sea to sea, and the world ran out of angels, and darkness came down, blacker than any other darkness. And an hour passed, and then another hour, and another hour, and another hour, and another, and another, and then another hour, and another, and then another hour, and no one came. Rosa, some reflections.
I traveled to Israel for the first time during Sukkot of my 18th year. I've been back many times since then, most recently during the month of Sivan, this past June 2024. These are my reflections on traveling in Israel in the wake of October 7th. Touching down in the land of Israel once again, the arrival hall is sun-drenched and gleaming as it seems always to be, this time also filled with the faces of the missing. Children's voices speaking Hebrew fill me with a kind of pride and wistful joy. As a teen and in my 20s, the soldiers seemed romantic, tough and beautiful in the way of Israelis. This time, riding the train to Netanya, I see the heavy load on their faces and in their guns. Bride and bridegroom under the chuppah, the joy of the beloved grandmother dancing into the night. Fresh young people who love and laugh and defend the Jewish people and hold this weight in balance with their hope. At the Western Wall, we pray for peace, and the muezzin sounds above. At the Shavuot celebration of the first fruit on Kibbutz Revivim, my awareness is split between the displaced survivors and the dancing of curly-headed children. There is a tractor scoop full of toddlers who release doves into the desert sky. And a speaker shares his solemn pride in the harvesting of neighboring fields emptied of their farmers. In the National Library, everything feels like an answer to a question we are asked over and over again. Stories of resistance fighters and poets, the ketubah bearing my grandmother's name, photos with my mother in the garden of letters. At the beach in Haifa, children race around eating watermelon, teens listen to loud music in Hebrew and Arabic, trash litters the beach. We float in the Mediterranean with a mass of multicultural and beautiful humanity. A walk from a beach hotel to the Tel Aviv Museum. Pride banners and Bring Them Home Now stickers compete for attention while I navigate strollers and dog walkers in the fading light through the sycamore trees. I enter the square and come upon a graduation. Young women in caps with balloons and flowers posing for pictures with their mothers, wearing the hijab, the shama, the madriga. Stepping past these celebrants, I enter Hostages Square. Here, the terrible beauty of memorial installations and the detritus of months of gatherings, vigils, and protests remind me that all of this goes on in the face of a trauma at once national and deeply personal, echoing our history and still unfolding. I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Thank you, Rosa and Rabbi Trotterman. We now invite Dr. Eric Dienerstein, an Israeli-American physician living in Maine, to come up to the podium and share a few words with us.
שמי אריק, אני ישראלי אמריקאי, I'm an Israeli American, American Israeli. I am split, as you can see. I speak Hebrew, English, Ivrit, Anglit, everything is mixed up. And I want to represent, אני רוצה לייצג את הישראלים שחיים פה באזור במיין. I want to represent the Israelis that are here and what's going on with them. באוקטובר, 7 באוקטובר, הכל השתנה. Everything changed in the 7th of October. Israelis were trying to figure out what to do. אני פה, המקום שלי פה, המשפחה שלי פה, אבל הלב שלי בארץ. I am here, but my heart is there. איך אני יכול לעזור? אני יותר מדי מבוגר ללכת למילואים. I'm too old to go to reserve duty. אני נורולוג. אולי הישראלים צריכים נורולוגים. זה לא היה המצב. I'm a neurologist. I thought maybe they would need a neurologist to volunteer. The Army didn't need neurologists. They need surgeons, anesthesiologists, critical care doctors. נסענו, המשפחה ואני, הם, אייזק, זוי ואני לארץ, וכתבנו תפוזים, לימונים, אבוקדו ועגבניות. We picked lemons, avocado, and volunteered to save the agriculture. אבל מה עוד אפשר לעשות? What else can I do? ואז קיבלתי הזדמנות. החבר שלי, מלפני הרבה שנים, רובי חן, ואשתו חגית, איבדו את הבן שלהם, איתי חן. Ruby and Hagit Chen from Netanya, Israel. Ruby is an Israeli American. Lost their son, Itai, a shirioner, a fighter in a tank, age 19. הוא נפל ב-7 באוקטובר בקרב. הוא נלקח מאיתנו. he was taken from us, איתי, אבל הגופה שלו נלקחה לעזה. His body was taken to Gaza. הוא שם עד היום, and is there until today. אז יש לי עכשיו תפקיד, I have a job. אני הפה, אני מייצג את רובי וחגית. I will speak in the name of רובי and חגית. מאיפה להתחיל? Where should I start? כל כך הרבה כאב, so much pain. כל כך הרבה צער, so much sorrow. כל כך הרבה נשמות נלקחו מאיתנו. So many souls were taken from us. חיילים גיבורים נפלו. Heroes, soldiers have fallen. צעירים שרקדו את החופש, youngsters, dancing in their freedom. הותקפו בלי רחמים. They were attacked without mercy. משפחות, ילדים, תינוקות נרצחו בבתיהם. Families, children, baby, murdered in their homes. ועברה שנה, and a year has passed. ובתי הקברות מתמלאים. The cemeteries are filling up. ויש כאלה שאין להם קבר משלהם. There are some who do not have a grave site. 35 גברים ונשים נרצחו, וגופם עדיין מוחזק בשבי. 35 men and women were murdered, and their bodies are still held hostage. נכון, הזמן שלהם נגמר, אבל הזמן של המשפחות שלהם עצר מלכת. True, their time is up, but their family's life has stopped in time. הם עדיין תקועים באותו הרגע הנורא והמפחיד. They are still stuck in that moment, that terrible moment, שבו נשמעה הדפיקה בדלת. והרגע לא חולף. When a knock at the door is heard, what Israelis are scared from the most. And that moment just does not pass. וזה לא נותן להם מנוח. And they can't mourn in peace. כי כל זמן שהגוף של יקיריהם שם, הם לא יכולים להביא אותם למנוחת עולם. Because as long as their loved ones are there, they can't bring them to rest in peace. הם לא פה ולא שם. They're not here and not there. התקווה להציל אותם מתה איתם. The hope to save them died with them. אבל איך אפשר להיפרד מהם שהם לא כאן? How can you say goodbye when they are not here? כשאתה מול קבר, יש לך מקום לשים בו את הלב שלך. When you are next to a grave, you have a place to put your heart. מקום להניח בו את העצב. מקום כדי לבכות בו. To put your heart, a place to cry. מקום לדבר איתו או איתה. A place to talk to her, to him. אחרי שאתה אומר קדיש, הדפיקה בדלת נגמרת. After you say the Kaddish, the knock on the door is over. עכשיו אפשר לעצור, לשבת שבעה ולהתחיל להתאבל על האובדן. So now you can stop and you can sit shiva and you can mourn the loss. חייבים להחזיר אותם לקבורה באדמתם. We must bring them back to burial in their homeland. People of Israel, in the state of Maine, you are the people of Israel. Adopt a cause, speak up, talk to your council members, senators, leaders. These are the These are the days before Yom Kippur. אשמנו, בגדנו, גזלנו, דיברנו דופי. We can do better. We can do better. גם לחללים אין זמן. Even the lost ones don't have time.
Thank you, Dr. Dinerstein, for giving voice to the Israelis in our community. I now invite Ashley Inbar to come up and introduce our keynote speaker for this evening. Ashley is the Chief Development Officer for the JCA.
As we come together tonight in unity and remembrance, we honor not only the memory of October 7th, but the resilience of those who have endured and survived its unimaginable horrors. Originally, I had hoped to introduce Karen Borovsky-Oren to you in person. Just a few days ago, she had to make the incredibly difficult decision to postpone her trip here in response to the escalating situation with Lebanon. Karen is a survivor of the brutal terrorist attack at Kibbutz Re'im. She is a mother, a leader, and a courageous voice for truth. While Karen cannot join us physically, she is with us tonight via Zoom. Her participation, despite all that she is currently facing, speaks volumes about her dedication and resilience. Just before the school year began, Karen and her family moved back to Kibbutz Re'im. This return was not easy. Their sons are both serving in the IDF, with one stationed on the Lebanon border, and their daughter longed to be back in the life they had before terror struck. Their family's decision to return was made out of love for their home and community, despite the trauma they faced there. On October 7th, Kibbutz Re'im, a shared farming community of 430 residents, found itself under siege by Hamas militants. The attack began at 6:29 a.m., and within hours, the kibbutz was transformed into a battlefield. As you will soon see in the presentation, the scale of destruction was vast. Homes were torched, civilians were kidnapped and murdered, and the brave members of the Re'im security squad, led by Karen's husband Harel, fought relentlessly to protect their community. In May, I had the profound honor of accompanying Karen on her first return to Kibbutz Re'im since the attack. She stood before this devastation, her home, her community, now a scarred battlefield, and led us through the heart of it all. Despite her own fears and trauma, she guided us so that we could bear witness to the truth. Karen wanted to ensure that we and the world would never forget the atrocities committed that day. It wasn't just an act of courage, it was an act of profound love and duty. The images you are about to see depict the terror attack on Kibbutz Re'im, homes destroyed, families ripped apart, and lives forever altered. 5 civilians were kidnapped and many more brave souls, including IDF soldiers and members of the local security squad, gave their lives to protect their community. Their faces, names, and stories will remain with us, etched in our collective memory. Karen, you are the embodiment of resilience, of truth-telling, and of hope in the face of profound darkness. Your bravery in reliving this trauma is an unparalleled gift to us all. We are humbled and grateful beyond words for your willingness to share your story with us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce Karen Borovsky-Oren joining us from Israel.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ashley, for those kind words, and thank you for inviting me. I really hope that in a few months I could come and enjoy your beautiful community. So my name is Karen Borovsky-Oren. I live in Kibbutz Re'im for about 24 years now. I'm the wife of Harel. Harel is the head of security appointed by the army to guard the kibbutz Re'im. And I'm the mother of 3. Peleg is the eldest. He's 22. He's on reserves, and he's a part of Harel's security squad team. Eli is 20, and he is currently a soldier who's inside of Lebanon fighting and guarding us now. And Mia, she's 15. She's a high school student. So everything starts on October 7th, 6:29 in the morning. Where you see, this is the environment of my beautiful kibbutz. And all of a sudden, rockets firing and disturbing the peace and waking us up. This is Harel, my husband. I'm waking Harel up, telling him, Harel, oh my God, Harel, wake up, there's a red color alert, something's wrong. And he wakes up, we're all of a sudden hearing that something is not right, because the missile coming from Gaza is so strong, and so many missiles throughout the country. We all of a sudden understood that something really bad is happening. And I told Harel, I don't have a good feeling. You must get rest. And so he takes his phone and started to scream and shouting at his security squad team to get ready, to get dressed, to get out of the house. So he's walking around the house trying to get dressed, but he's on the phone, and I'm walking after him, and I'm telling him, Harel, put your pants on. Harel, put your shirt on. Harel, put your shoes on. Please take your socks, and promise me you will always wear your helmet and your vest and go outside. It's okay, we're with you. And I'm like, I know he will come home. He is always coming back home. We are his home. It'll be okay. But I'm scared like I've never been scared before, because we are starting to hear gunshots. And this is not something we've heard before inside the kibbutz. And I'm remembering that I have a gun in the safe in the house. And so I told my boy Eli to take the gun out of the safe, and we are starting to get texts that there's a scare of penetration, of terrorist penetration to the kibbutz, that we have to lock all the house and close the windows and the doors, and turn off the lights and go into the safe room. So I'm taking my 3 dogs, Mia and Eli, who was in the house, with me to the safe room. We had a gun and also a machete we had in the house. I told Eli to bring it as well. And we are locking ourselves in the safe room. But my son, my eldest, Peleg, is not home. He's living in a room in the youngsters neighborhood. And currently he's over there with his girlfriend, Adi. And I'm calling Peleg and I'm telling him, Peleg, please stay in the safe room and lock yourselves. And little did I know that in the end, the neighborhood of the youngsters will be the main battlefield of the kibbutz. So we're closing ourselves in the safe room, as you can see in the picture. And at around 9:30, I'm getting a call from Harel. And I'm like, oh my God, Harel, why are you calling me? You're in the middle of a war, you're fighting. And he's telling me, listen, I told Peleg to get out of the house because I saw all the terrorists going from one room to the other, throwing grenades and killing trying to kill everyone in the house. So I told Peleg and Adi to go outside and hide in the bushes. And I'm like telling him, oh my God, no, why did you tell them to hide in the bushes? It's not safe. There are terrorists outside. And I didn't finish the sentence, and Peleg is on the waiting call. I'm answering him, and he's telling me, Mom, please open the door. We are coming home. So I opened the safe room's door, and you have to understand that bullets are whistling, and you can hear fighting all around. And I don't care. I want my boy and his girl. So I'm opening the door, and maybe 10 seconds went by, and Peleg and Adi came rushing in the house. We are closing the door. We're running to the safe room, and we're closing ourselves inside again. This is the room where we were hiding in. This is the safe room, which is actually my daughter's bedroom. And you can see Mia sitting, and Eli is standing, and Peleg and Adi are lying down, and also these are our dogs over there. And we had a television on, but it was on mute. We didn't speak. We had to stay silent. We spoke very, very silently. And I saw on TV that they are trying. That the terrorists are trying to get in the safe rooms and killing people. So or shooting through the door. So I told Peleg, let's put the bed at the door and put the mattress on the door so it will absorb bullets if terrorists will come into our home. So we did, and what you see over there in the gray is Mia's mattress. And hours went by, and we were in our PJs. We didn't have no food. We only had a small bottle of water that Mia had from the other night. And I didn't drink at all, but I gave the kids to portion the water sip by sip. And these are Peleg and Adi trying to stay silent and to sleep for a little bit. And hours and hours went by, and the kibbutz's WhatsApp group are texting, everyone texting one another. People screaming, "Oh my God! I can hear Arabic through the window, and the baby is screaming. What can I do?" And so another mom is answering her, put a hand on her mouth, and whisper shh in her ear. You have to silence the baby. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what I read. This is Shoah. This is the Holocaust, and we're in Israel. And I myself, I'm a third generation of survivors to the Holocaust. And I'm thinking, this can't be true. But this is what we hear. And on the WhatsApp group, people are saying, I have a family member who is wounded here. Please send the security squad to me. In a different neighborhood, people are saying, the terrorists burned our homes. What can we do? Please come and save us. And I know I'm reading that, but my mind can't believe it. And so I tried to help other people to hang on, and I'm writing, not speaking, simultaneously to a few friends of mine, trying to calm them down and explaining to them how I locked the door and how they should do it as well, because we didn't have locks on the safe room door. We didn't know we have to do it because but until the 7th of October, our biggest fear were rockets, not terrorists coming to our homes. And at around 10:30 in the morning, I'm getting a special text from a friend of mine. She is a midwife. She works in Be'er Sheva, in Soroka Hospital. And we were neighbors a few years ago. And now they live in a different village close to us. And she's the midwife who was my midwife when I gave birth to Mia. And she's special to me because we're good friends, and also because she gave me a healthy daughter to hold, and she gave me her life actually. And she's writing, telling me that she is barricaded in Be'er Sheva because of the rockets, and she can't come home. And her husband is there with her children, and her boy, who is a soldier, went to fight outside, and they haven't heard from him in a while, and she's very worried. And I'm like telling her, oh, it's okay, don't worry. He will probably phone when he can. And every year on Mia's birthday, I text Galit, thank you, my love. Thank you for bringing me the love of my life. It's a unique present for me. And I remember, I will always remember you. And she texts me back, I remember as well, I love you. And we have a very close relationship. So time went by. I didn't even feel it. I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel thirsty. I only couldn't stop shaking. And also, sorry for the TMI, we had to pee. So what do we do? There's no toilet it's a room. So we had to take turns and pee in Mia's garbage basket. It's like crazy. I felt humiliated, but at the same time, we couldn't go out and pee because what if someone or the horrible terrorists would have come in? So we had to do that, and time goes by. And I'm sorry to say that on about 5 p.m., I'm getting a text from Galit, my friend, telling me, Karen, I lost my boy. What kind of horrible world do I live in that the person who gave life to my child and to so many children in the Negev has to bury her son? Her son's name is Itai Nachmias, and he's a hero. He fought together with 3 members of a security squad till they had the last bullet. And then it's evening already. We are still in the safe room. We keep on hearing gunshots and Arabic all the time. And we didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, it's getting a little bit quieter. Turns out Harel managed to spread his security squad in different directions. And security squad, there were 6 of them fighting 100 terrorists in the kibbutz. They fought them alone for about 5.5 hours till help came in the shape of police officers and beautiful, heroic soldiers who heard that there's a big fight in Kibbutz Re'im and that they need help. So with the help of the soldiers and policemen, they managed to isolate the terrorists in the neighborhood of the youngsters, where Peleg's room is, where he managed to escape. And they had a huge fighting zone over there for hours. You can see the ruins of the homes of the youngsters in the pictures. And after hours of fighting, they managed to subdue most of them. So it's evening now, and we are getting a text from the kibbutz's WhatsApp group that it's okay for us to leave the safe room just for a half an hour to get some water and food and go straight back right into the safe room again. So this is what we did. We left for a half an hour. The kids ate something and took a shower, and we went right back into the safe room. But then we had another text saying to be quiet and lock all the doors again if we hadn't done it already, because the terrorists are in my neighborhood. Two of them barricaded themselves in a home, like 3 homes right over there, uphill from me. And I was scared out of my life, not because I was scared for my life, but because I was scared that the home that the terrorist went into was the home of Harel's deputy. And I knew that the wife and the kids were alone in the house without the warrior with the gun. But luckily, with such resilience, Harel's squad and the soldiers managed to storm the house with so much strength, and they finished those 2 terrorists that were hiding there. So then we had no cell reception, we had no electricity, and we had nothing left to do. And I think things were quiet. Now it's about around 1 o'clock in the morning. We had nothing else to do but try to fall asleep. Of course I couldn't, but I was glad that the kids could sleep for a little bit. And I have to remind you, we are in the safe room for about 15 hours now. When morning came, electricity went back up, and we got a text saying it's okay to get out of the safe room. Kids were still sleeping, and after 26 hours, I went out, and I went into my room. All I wanted was to take a shower, and then I went into my room, and I saw Harel on the bed, and I'm like, and he was sleeping, and I'm like, it took me a second because I didn't know. He looked so peaceful. I didn't know, is he dead? Is he sleeping? What's going on? And I'm like looking at him again, and I'm saying, okay, he's just sleeping. I'm coming to him, I'm stroking his face, and by then I already knew, because of the text messages, we kind of knew who's unavailable, who didn't keep in touch, and we kind of knew that only 7 of us were killed, that most of the kibbutz had lived. And I'm telling Harel, I'm stroking his face, and I'm telling him, Harel, how did you do it? How? and he's saying, he's waking up and he's saying, "Oh, no worries. Why do you worry? I told my squad to spread out." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And by then, I didn't know that all of his squad were 6 people. This is something with God's help, I think. I'm sorry to say that in Kibbutz Re'im, 7 lovely people were killed. Amit Gabay, who was almost 18, which is a boy I love since he was in his mother's belly. Asaf Feber is 23, and he was an amazing young man. Varda Amramati, she's a grandma. She was 81 and she was shot dead in her bed. Dvir Karp, who is 46, and Stav Kimchi is 35. Both of them were heroes. They went out of the safe room and stormed with an axe and wounded the terrorists who got into Dvir's house. But unfortunately, the terrorists killed them, but spared Dvir's children, who were left alone for 3 hours in the house until a neighbor came, and he stayed with them for eight additional hours till they could get out of the safe room. And also 2 lovely Thai workers who unfortunately the terrorists killed. We had 4 hostages taken. Liam Orr, who has returned in the first and only hostage deal that came through, and also 3 Thai workers who are still over there. They weren't released. Unfortunately, those angels you see, angels in uniform, were killed also in our kibbutz. They just came because they heard that we need help, but they couldn't survive. And also policemen, 6 soldiers and 6 policemen were killed on duty that day. May they rest in peace. These are the emergency team squad you see over there. It's like, if you will, it's the neighborhood watch team. You know, they're 40 to 50-year-old men. They left home with shorts and flip-flops, and we're fighting Hamas like they're squad members, a squad of an elite unit, and they're amazing, and this is our people. They saved us. In Re'im, about 15 homes were destroyed to the ground or burnt, but none of the Re'im members were being torched alive. The security squad team managed to get everyone out on time. These are a few pictures of the damage caused in the kibbutz on October 7th. These are one of the burned houses. Luckily, the safe room stayed and stood still and managed to protect the people inside. This is Arel. It says Rav Shatz, the head of security of the kibbutz, on his back. Harel said the houses were burned so badly that nothing left. I want to finish by saying a prayer. This is all of us in Eilat. Actually, before I say the prayer, I have to tell you just one more little thing. On October 8th in the morning, we got a text saying, pack up your things. We are going to Eilat in an hour. We didn't know where in Eilat. We just packed like a small trolley for everyone. And then we went to Eilat. We ended up staying there for 2.5 months with the little trolley. And of course, Ariel didn't come with me because he stayed home. It's his job to protect the kibbutz. And Eli and Peleg, after 10 days in Eilat, they had enough, and they joined Ariel in the kibbutz. Peleg joined, my eldest, joined Ariel in the security squad team, and Eli went to work. He works as a farmer. So 10 days after October 7th, he was already on the tractor, plowing the fields and planting potatoes. So you reap and you sow with tears, right? And now Eli is in the army. And I want you to please, to finish, I want you to join me in a prayer, which was I kept chanting in my head all the hours of my staying in the safe room. I want this prayer to safekeep our soldiers, and for the safety and for the safety return home, and also may our hostages please return already. A song of essence. שיר למעלות. שיר למעלות, אשא עיניי להרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל יתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומריך. הנה לא ינום ולא ישן שומר ישראל. השם שומריך, השם צילך על יד ימיניך. יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. השם שומריך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. השם ישמור צאתך ובאך, מעתה ועד עולם. Thank you. עם ישראל חי.
Thank you, Karen, for sharing that powerful testimony with us tonight, especially since it's 4 a.m. In Israel. So she stayed up very, very late because she knew it was important for us to be able to bear witness to what happened that day. So thank you, Karen, and thank you, Ashley, for making the connection so that she could be with us virtually tonight. I now invite Rabbi Estrin to give some concluding remarks and lead us in Misha Berak.
Again, we return to prayer as a source of comfort, a prayer for the welfare and the return of Israel's captured and missing from among our sisters and brothers. God of Israel, our rock and our redeemer, God of mercy, of compassion, we pray, we plead that you return these precious and beloved people, the captured and the missing, who have cruelly and heartlessly been torn from their homes and carried off to our enemy's territory. We are terrified contemplating their fate and horrified at the thought of what the missing and the captured are suffering right now. They lay beyond our reach and our capacity to save them. And so we plead before you, Father of mercy, be at their side, support them, protect them, and quickly bring them back to the embrace of their families and all who love them as you have declared. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will restore the captives of Jacob's tents and have mercy on their dwelling place. We beseech you, Adonai, quickly fulfill your word. Here I am with you. I will watch over you whenever you go and will bring you back to this land. Indeed, I will not leave you until I have done what I have said to you.
Thank you, Rabbi Estrin. We now invite Rabbi Moshe Wolansky of Chabad of Maine to lead us in El Malach Rachamim.
This prayer is always said by end of a funeral. It's customary when we say this prayer, we rise, El Molei Rachamim, Shoichem B'Raimim, Amotzei Menucha Nechoina, Al Kanfei Hashchina. My lois Kedoshim Utahoidim, Kizor Harikia, Mashirin Mes Nishmois, Akedoshim Vatahoidim, Nishrachu, Al Kiddush Hashem, Aidei, Amchablim, Yamach Shemoy V'Zechron, Jeholachol, Elamam, Bavur Shanachtu Mispalim, Ilu Shmasechem, Luchain, Balarachamim, Yaskireim, Besesa Kanafas Loilamim, B'Yisor, B'Sora Hachayim, Es Nishmosam, Sehem, Began Edim Tehei Minuchosam, Adinoi Hu Nachalosam, V'Nuach V'Sholom, Al Mishkovai, V'Neimar Amen. All be seated. Let's join this prayer in English together. Put it back on the screen. Together. O God, will compassion, will dwell on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the Shina. Vaulted through the holy and pure, who shine as a firmament, as the holy and pure souls who are murdered in the holy land through sacrifice God's name. By the acts of evil, terrorists, may God erase their name and the mentions of the world, who have gone to his spiritual world, and for who we are praying for the salvation of their souls. Therefore, may all the mercy shelter them with the cover of the wings forever, and bind the soul in the bond of life. May their place be rest and be in Gan Eden. The Lord is their heritage. May they rest in his resting place in peace. And let us all, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Wolansky. I now invite Rabbi Jared Sachs of Congregation Bet Ha'am in South Portland to lead us in Kaddish. You may light or illuminate your candles at this time.
As we prepare to recite these words of Kaddish at home with the names of the places where our people were murdered interspersed, we light these 12 candles up front for the 1,200 plus of our people who were murdered, for the 12 months without them, and for the 12 tribes that our people may be whole again. Yitgadal, Kfar Aza, V'yitkadash, Be'eri, Shmei Rabbah, Nova Dance Festival, Balma Divrach Hirute, Zikim, Ve'yamlich Malchute, Nir Am, B'chayechon, Nachal Oz, Uv'yomechon, Nir Oz, Uv'chaye Dechol, Ofakim, Beit Yisrael, Sterot, Bagala Uvizman Kariv, Karen Shalom, V'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabam Varach Leolam Olomei Olmaya, Nirim, Yitbarach V'yishtabach, Nir Yitzchak, V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam, Mitachim, V'yitnaseh V'yithadar, Kisufim, V'yitale V'yithalal, Re'im, Shmei de Kudashah Barichu, Miflasim, Le'ela Sha'ar HaNegev, Mikol Birchata V'Shirata, Alumim, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Cholit, Damiran Bialma V'Imru, Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Huyaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'Imru, Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Thank you, Rabbi Sachs. As we conclude tonight, I'd like to extend thanks to all of our congregational partners here in Portland and around the state who worked together to create this incredibly moving program. I'd like to thank Drazy Lefkowitz, who prepared the delicious meal for us tonight. And if you didn't take note of the recipes, they were highlighting favorite dishes of the hostages. I'd also like to thank the staff of the JCA who have gone above and beyond to make tonight possible. In particular, Ilana Gilg, our Director of Programs. Ilana has worked tirelessly for weeks coordinating with the various sites and making sure that all the details were attended to. Her vision and guidance were invaluable. Without the hard work of Ilana and the rest of the staff, none of this would be possible. Not only tonight, but throughout the past year, combating anti-Semitism and standing up for Israel. This community is lucky to have such a remarkable staff working every day, often behind the scenes, doing this holy work. Please join me in a round of applause for the JCA staff. Our world changed on October 7th. But to be Jewish is to always have hope. Hope for hostages to be returned, hope for peace, hope for better and brighter days. Shana Yoder Tov, may 5785 be a better year. As the shofar sounds, may its powerful notes awaken within us the call once again to be agents of change, not only in our own lives, but also in the world around us. Let us strive to be compassionate, kind, and just in our actions, treating others with respect and empathy. May we stand together to confront the challenges we face as a community, as a nation, as a people, and as human beings. Lastly, I would like to invite Sharon Newman up to the stage to conclude this evening's commemoration with music and song. Please feel free to join her so that our voices rise together as one. When the songs are concluded, you may exit out the way you came in. Thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you. So I'm hoping you can hear me. It sounds like you can. So we'll start with Olam Chesed Yibaneh, We will build a world from love.
I witness from God. But I build this world from love that I love. Hola, se divane. Hola, se divane.
You are invited to rise to sing Hatikva. Tam Choshi, Don Yerushalayim, Lord Yeshua, Diomia, Ulfate, Yotam Choshi, Shalom.